But I'm always talking about Mike Hanson and the fellow he's got that does Mike Hanson Archives. It's mainly a lot of new stuff. Mike has got all the really good tapes of like me protesting the Klan and the cops pointing guns at us when we're protesting them, the snipers, and just unbelievable stuff. So, Mike, for one reason you're here, you're saying send my crew down there. Fine, I'll send my crew down there to get the really good stuff and get it on there. I appreciate you guys doing it. And I was offering to pay your guy to do it. He says he does it volunteer. But how do we get all that epic stuff nobody's seen on TV?
Alex, it's not like we hadn't been doing anything. You know, we've put on Mike Hanson Archives on YouTube, it's all about Alex Jones.
No, I don't care about that. I just want the old stuff because I haven't seen it.
Okay, folks, breaking 2022 news. Alex Jones has gave us a channel on his Infowars.com banned.video. All you have to do is go right up there to banned.video on Infowars.com and go right down to Mike Hanson Archives. And you can see all the gold that Alex Jones have been asking for years.
This is what I live for. Yeah.
I was like, why did you just tell me about that?
No,
it's
not at all.
I can
all the gold.
It's the best and most comprehensive book on Bohemian Grove, and it's written by Mike Hanson, my old camera guy.
Mike Hanson Archives. I love Mike Hanson Archives. You ready to run?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, roll over.
I had a dream the other night that, well, I didn't understand. A figure walked in through the mist with a flintlock in his hand. His clothes were torn and dirty as he stood there by my bed. He took off his three-cornered hat, and speaking low to me, he said, "We fought a revolution to secure our liberty. We wrote the Constitution as a shield from tyranny. For future generations, this legacy we gave. In this, the land of the free and home of the brave. The freedoms we secured for you, we hoped you'd always keep. But tyrants labored endlessly while your parents were asleep. Your freedom's gone, your courage lost. You're no more than a slave. In this, the land of the free and home of the brave. You buy permits to travel and permits to own a gun. Permits to start a business or to build a place for one. On land that you believe you own, you pay a yearly rent, although you have no voice in saying how the money's spent. Your children must attend a school that doesn't educate, and your Christian values can't be taught according to the state. You read about the current news in a regulated press, and you pay a tax you do not owe to please the IRS. Your money is no longer made of silver nor of gold. You trade your wealth for paper so your life can be controlled. You pay for crimes that make our nation turn from God and shame. You've taken Satan's number. You've traded in your name. You've given government control to those who do you harm so they could burn down churches and seize the family farm and keep our country deep in debt, put men of God in jail, harass your fellow countrymen while corrupted courts prevail. Your public servants don't uphold the solemn oaths they've sworn. And your daughters visit doctors so their children won't be born. Your leaders send artillery and guns to foreign shores, and send your sons to slaughter fighting other people's wars? Can you regain the freedoms for which we fought and died? Or don't you have the courage or the faith to stand with pride? And are there no more values for which you'll fight to save? Or do you wish your children to live in fear and be a slave? Oh, sons of the Republic, arise, take a stand. Defend the Constitution, the supreme law of the land. Preserve our great republic and each God-given right. And pray to God to keep the torch of freedom burning bright. As I awoke, he'd vanished in the mist from whence he came. His words were true. We are not free, but we have ourselves to blame. For even now as tyrants trample each God-given right, we only watch and tremble, too afraid to stand and fight. If he stood by your bedside in a dream while you were asleep and wondered what remains of the freedoms he'd fought to keep, what would be your answer if he called out from the grave? Is this still the land of the free and home of the brave? God.
Hello, Austin, Texas, and we are back. Now, this is the Jeff Davis Real News Hour. This is our 4th edition down here. Got Alex Jones with us. We're going to be talking about the illusion of freedom. Now, let me just say a couple of things about this. We've been doing some studying and some reading as far as just exactly. Let me just read this first. This was mentioned that we would read this, so I'm going to go ahead and do it. It's called I Didn't Speak Up. In Germany, Nazis first came for the communists, and I didn't speak up because I wasn't a communist. Then they came for the Jews, and I didn't speak up because I wasn't a Jew. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I didn't speak up because I wasn't a trade unionist. Then they came for the Catholics, and I didn't speak up because I am a Protestant. Then they came for me, and by the time there was no one left, they came for me, and by that time there was no one left to speak for me. So I think this is, when we start talking about why all of our rights need to be kept here, and all of our ideas and liberties, that's a perfect example. Now, the focus of today's show is going to be the illusion of freedom. Now, we've got a little book here, if we could get a close-up of this to get this going here. It's called The Illusion of Freedom, folks. And I think you'll find it quite interesting that when we focus in here and get where you can see it, that's as far as this exactly what we're talking about here. Because the fact is, you will see that much of what we're being told about as being free, this has already been practiced, folks, in other governments gone past. And it's called The Illusion of Freedom. This is going to be the thrust of this news hour. Basically, the first picture shows in Nazi Germany, they requested to have your papers in order. And then in the Communist Soviet Union, they did the same thing. Now here in America, they also, they say when you get pulled over, you'll be free to go as soon as we see your driver's license, registration, proof of insurance, etc. Same thing, and then these other tyrannical regimes.
The police aren't supposed to come for you until after you have committed a crime, not all these spot checks and things. And that's where we've gotten confused in this country. We're all being treated like criminals rather than punishing people after they commit criminal acts.
Right. Now this is going to lead into the focus of what we're going to talk about here tonight. Now we're going to be using several examples, and I think we're going to be using our own ideas too. But in this book here, it's called The Right to Travel, and we won't get a close-up of it, but it's called The Right to Travel, Liberty or License. And it talks about different things as far as how the license has been used to licensing, permits, fees, and all of this type of thing.
Yeah, the Constitution counts except when there's a federal license.
Right.
Local license.
Took our liberty away and gave us a license.
Basically, yeah. Basically, the idea is that they've taken our liberty away and given us a license. Now, I want to bring into the program the Jeff Davis Real News Hour today, Alex Jones. Alex,
Yes.
pleasure to see you here.
Hey, thanks, Joe.
And tell us a little bit, Alex, of some of your ideas. Now, I mean, anybody that knows that graphic that we put up there, there's a lot of truth to that.
Well, it's absolutely true, and I hope that we'll show that graphic
We will.
quite a few times through the show. I mean, this is how tyranny creeps on us. And we did a live show tonight before we taped this show, and a lady called in, and she's like, I'm against socialism. And then about a minute later, she goes, I'm for socialized health care.
Uh-huh.
And then she said, well, that's not socialism. She says, I'm for socialized insurance.
No, she actually said...
Driver's insurance.
No, she actually said that she was for a state-mandated, a state-run liability insurance deal. And then she turned right around and said how corrupt the police departments were. Yeah. So it's like they're corrupt, but she wants to then go ahead and set up
the problem with insurance is that you have to have it. See, that is artificial right there.
Yeah, that's artificial right there.
So that's where the corruption's at. Not that we need government now to step in with even more corruption.
Right, that's right.
You don't go to thugs to solve your problems.
That's right. So, but where we're going to take this, folks, is on these lines. Now we've had a fellow on there named Mr. Roland Ellingson, and Mr. Ellingson, who's been on Alex's show and ours, our live shows. Has become in the last 6 months a target of the local corruption, and basically, I'll let Alex explain it. But basically, he was threatened with $200 or $2,000 a day fines on his property
for objectionable material. I mean, what is that? And then we went out to the health department and found that they had a couple foot tall grass, garbage, junk, walls falling down.
And this story's actually got quite a bit of attention.
Yes, and it was all over talk radio for months. And then the statesman 3 days later countered with a front page article with the same numbers to call for service that we had said to call and complain. And we talked about that.
Go ahead, keep talking. I'm going to look at something.
And then, as if that wasn't bad enough, as if that wasn't corrupt enough and out of control enough, they wrote even more stories. So what do? I went out with Jeff's producer, out to city council member's home. I went out to, well, should we mention her name? I don't know. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't really matter one way or another.
Well, we went out to Jackie Goodwin's home in a very nice neighborhood. It wasn't a rundown neighborhood or something. About the same as Roland Ellingson's home. And there were, I'm not kidding, vines growing over derelict vehicles, tarps on roofs, mosquitoes swarming in the air, and all the other homes were nice and manicured and well ordered. She owned 2 homes on the street. Lived in one, rented out the other to some friends. Then we got some heat from people. Why were we being mean to Jackie Goodman? Well, we don't have the power to give her $2,000 a day fines for having weeds and vines growing on derelict vehicles in English ivy everywhere and tarps on roofs, and we wouldn't want to do that to her. The property value goes down, people move out, it becomes a bad neighborhood, people move to good neighborhoods. That's called the free market. But think about this, and think about this very, very carefully. We were being accused and attacked by some people in the establishment around here for attacking Jackie Goodman and being mean and mean-spirited. When a man that fought for his country, a vet, a senior citizen who's lived there since 47, was being given $2,000 a day fines, I crap you not, for a dead yard. It had grass this tall, grass this high, nothing in the yard. He didn't clean it up. And it's just out of control. That's where we're at. Total hypocrisy. So some people weren't concerned with the hypocrisy. They were concerned with his yard. They were, it just shows how dumbed down and misdirected the mindset is of some of the general public out there. And I would hope that people, would start waking up to this.
Let me now I'm going to do just a little bit of reading here, folks, because I think this is the heart of what we're talking about. Black Law Dictionary talks about licenses in the law of contracts, a permission accorded by a competent authority conferring the right to do some act which without such authorization would be illegal or would be a trespass or a tort. Now, there's several concepts to a license. There must be a licensor and issuer, which meaning the state in this case.
Well, but they care about us. It's best interest.
There must be a licensee, which means the slaves in this case. The license gives a grant or right, permission, or liberty to the licensee. Now, what's interesting about all of this, it goes on here, but I just want to summarize briefly what this is about. Basically, it says here, the last couple of things here, the licensor has the power to prohibit. And we're seeing this now. This is a perfect example of what how the enemy operates. They control these resources at the top. And now they're saying, by the control of the resources and through these programs, through this National Transportation Safety Administration Board, that if people don't submit to certain, now this hasn't happened yet, but it's something that Alex and I both talked about in this Federal Register. If people don't submit to blood and blood and urine samples, then the federal government is going to restrict those. They could restrict those people of their driver's license, their professional license, and see this is the power of this licensing process.
Of abusing the licensing system.
Right. Well, the whole thing, and
it's an abuse of power, Jeff. But I want to make a comment on this.
Well, let me just make this final comment here, because this is okay. Licensing. Now, basically, what the licensing? I'm just going to mention here that licensing is part of the Communist Manifesto. We talked about this on an earlier edition of this program. Abolition of private property and the right of property is the one. Okay, so we've talked about this. Now, so this whole thing about licensing, permits, fees, tickets, it's basically comes out of, it's an old Babylonian type system of enslavement. And most people don't acknowledge it and
that way you can turn the slaves loose, but you can always guarantee that they're going to pay you the tribute for the right to do whatever they're doing.
Right. Now I'm going to ask Alex here in just a minute after. Now the answer to this, from my perspective, is
there's one of the loving. There's a $2,000 a day fine that Mr. Roland Ellingson.
The threat of the fine.
Well, what we can do is if they can zoom in on that, you can mess with the knobs over there and kind of bring the blackout.
Now, now here's the answer, folks. We do a lot of complaining about, these different mechanisms that the slave system set up on us. Now, just briefly, the answer to instead of all of this, the state approving all of these licenses.
We have a basic rule of law,
and
if people break that law, then they're punished.
And what's the rule of law?
We need to punish criminals.
The basic rule.
We're not all criminals. It's people that break the law.
Basically, folks, here's the answer to avoid all of this enslaving, licensing, and gathering information on us. That simple answer, that simple solution is very simple to many of the other problems we discuss here. And that is basically, like Alex said, you have a natural order of living. In other words, you can basically go out and do anything you want with your life, your property, your honest acquired property, and do anything you would like to do, choose to do, provided you don't impose that right upon somebody else. If you do that, then you have violated that natural order of law, and you should be punished.
Let's go back to the hypocrisy since your producer's got it up on screen.
Well, I want to first have you comment on this.
Well, you notice she wasn't getting a $2,000 a day fine.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
But Mr. Roland Ellingson was. And then we'll show you her other home right across the street. There's the tarp with mosquitoes swarming. We'll try to show you that. Literally the most now that isn't really bad. That's just the tarp and some. Actually, I like the way that house looks, except for the tarp. I like overgrown houses. And there's Miss Goodman's other home, and we'll show you a derelict vehicle parked. Now that's what most of the houses look like in the neighborhood. But then right next door, you've got Jackie Goodman's home. That's where she actually lives, and take a look at that. Now that is absolute hypocrisy. And we didn't do this at first until we'd show the health department totally being in hypocrisy. Then the statesman countered, saying that it was extreme and that it was, and the $2,000 a day fines were loving and needed for the children. Literally said it for the kids in East Austin. Which Ellingson doesn't live in East Austin, lives in Central Austin, and did all of this. And later we'll show you the health department if we can do that. And then Roland Ellingson's home. It's hypocrisy. But
what the key to understanding is this, folks, is you can't allow an entity. Keep in mind, we are the government. We're supposed to be the government. That's what it was founded as. And now we have allowing these people, somebody else, to decide what's best for us. And this is now. Well,
these guys are vultures.
Well,
Jeff.
let me just answer.
These guys are vultures.
But keep in mind, a lot of the people within their mechanism are vulnerable to the whole house of cards. Now, I want you to answer, Alex, in your term. Basically, what is real liberty?
Now, there's Roland Ellingson's home. Oh,
what is real liberty, and what is instead of all this regulation
the guy that was getting the $2,000
that we're being told on, that we're being exposed to. What is your how do you feel that the natural order of things should be for real liberty? I mean,
for real liberty, I think I agree with the city. Mr. Roland Ellingson's home that we just saw, we might rewind that. He needs $2,000 a day fines. I'm concerned with his home having 3-inch grass, even though there's no homeowners deal in that neighborhood.
Well, that's just a hypocrisy.
No, I think they should take his home.
Yeah.
And I'm not worried about the throat slitters and the rapists and the white collar criminals and the federal government and the Chinese buying off our president. I'm not concerned. I'm concerned with that guy's home. And he's hurting the children. And
but what's the
I'll
answer?
quit being sarcastic.
Yeah, I want to know what the answer. I mean, I've already basically it's going to be the same as mine.
Repeat your question.
It's going to be the same as mine.
What's the answer?
We don't need a bunch of dictatorial bureaucracies and regulatory agencies.
Well, number one, you stand up against corruption. You stand up against it, and people will argue that, well, who are you to know best? I don't know best. Nobody knows best, but I know one thing. Things are getting out of hand. The government's growing too fast. They got too much control over every mechanism of our lives and our children. They're coming after our kids. The media's we've done many shows on how they're obsessed with the kids. Over at your place last week, we watched headline news, and in 20 minutes, 80% of the stories were about the kids, mercury in the kids.
That's just part of the condition.
Well, hold on, Clinton and child. Child daycare and federal standards, but they're not federal, but it's federal standards. It's up is down, down is up, black is white, white is black. It's doublespeak. And the next story was kids and tobacco and how the federal government's going to save kids from tobacco, but they're going to still bring in the coke and the heroin. And it just goes on and on. And so we got to start realizing that they're programming us, that the stuff that they tell us, but hold on, Jeff, something you said, and I want to ask you this, something you said, and I say it all the time, but I've forgotten about it. It's a really great point. We come in here with executive orders, 12,986, sign over our parks, United Nations, 12,986. I know you won't check it out. And I shouldn't be like that. Most people won't. But listen, they'll just believe whatever's in the newspaper, which we tore up one on our live show earlier. They will just accept the pap and the murder and the men against the women and the blacks against the whites and the whites against the blacks and all this balkanization and division, divided house will fall, and then the globalists run everything with their criminal syndicates. But they will trust whatever comes out of that TV, or at least accept it more. They will read the newspaper and think it's all helping them.
And it's so that it's all valid.
Yes, and they will never question or check it out or do anything. But we come out with executive orders and they call up and say, "Oh, you're being extreme."
Or it's even worse than that. It's actually a lot of this stuff now that I'm hearing is this: we need documentation. Well, the media doesn't.
Last week, we were throwing up MK Ultra, 1978.
Sure. I've got all the documentation you need, folks. For example, right here. Can we get a close-up of this?
Strategic Studies Institute.
The U.S. Army War College. Now, this is something we've been talking about on this show for a long time.
Microimplants. Was something before we go to this, I want to qualify the question you asked me that I never answered.
Yes, I need you to, what's the answer to all of this licensing and regulatory?
If people see that this licensing is absolutely, show them the cover.
Yeah,
if they see that this licensing, before you show them the chip implantation plans, if you don't think licensing's out of control, Clinton gave an executive order to the Transportation Department that by 93 in all states they would be thumb scanning. Now some states haven't adopted it because of people fighting it. We adopted it here in Texas, thumb scanning down at the DPS office.
Okay, that's good.
Now Clinton by 98, this is what he said. I don't know if they're going to implement. It's in the Federal Registry. We showed it to you 10 times. Urine and blood testing to get a driver's license, and tells them how to put in clinics down at the DPS office.
Now I want to just mention to you folks that this used to be, as of 2 months ago, was a classified document. This is one of the whitewashes that they've declassified. Probably it's all white. I'm sure it's all whitewash. However, this is something we've been talking about a number of times on this program, and I want you all to see this.
Now let's get a shot.
Because you want documentation. Here's documentation that the U.S. Army War College has been throwing around the idea that right here, it says right here. Well, I have to read it to see that
eventually such implants
back it up a little bit.
Could be permanently implanted under the skin. That's exactly what it says.
Okay, no, that's good. Now, I want people to zoom in a little bit or focus a little bit. Right here is it's talking about the Central Data Bank of Individuals Locators. It's an IPLD, Individual Position Locator device, and it could be permanently implanted under the skin. Do you see that, folks? Now, this is documentation. Now, they're throwing this idea around in the U.S. Army War College.
Show them the cover
this
again.
This is what they could be using. Now this is
This is it right here, buddy.
This is not. This is direct from the place itself, man. I mean,
Let's get another close shot of that. Flip on, and I'll put it on there, guys.
now that's documentation.
Go ahead and switch cameras.
Let
I
me
guess you're
just
not going to.
let
I
me
wanna show
just
this to 'em
mention
again.
the. Now, how does this all tie into an illusion of liberty? We need to put that. Can we put that
Yeah, we have to get a
picture
close-up
back up
of it
there
again.
again?
That's what
We
I'm
do.
saying.
Okay, I want to do this. I want to show this.
Because
about
this illustrates it perfectly.
yes, it does. It's kind of a comical type way of doing it. Oh yes, there's some more of that undocumented evidence. Okay, can we get a close up of this? One way. Is there any way you can steal it and just keep it up there? Get it up there. Focus it real
Yeah,
well.
guys, we don't have teleprompters, and we're in a very primitive studio. We're not like Peter Jennings, who has no reason to lie to you. So tune into him and trust what he has to say. Oh, I'm being sarcastic, Mike. I think they know sarcasm.
Yeah, we're competing against those CFR. I mean, those news reporters.
Loving best interest. They have no reason to lie to us.
Those CFR elites. I mean,
Those.
national newscasters.
No, what does my
Okay.
radio show say?
Now, here it is.
The one-liners. Exposing the minions of the Legion of Doom that have infested our government.
You'll get more information here in 10 minutes. You will there.
Hey,
That's right.
let's back it up. They can't see that.
You'll get more information here
I want them to see
in
this.
10 minutes.
This little
than you'll
graphic
get-
right here.
Than you'll get on the news media in 6 months. Real information. You'll get plenty of pap and manipulation. Yeah, let's freeze that there.
Okay, get it real good, and then.
No, you got to straighten it up. Yeah.
Okay.
That's
That's the
good.
best I can do.
That's perfect. He's got it. Yeah, that's loving. And now, if people can't see the pure honesty of this, you got a Nazi in Germany saying you're free as soon as I see your papers, but up until that point, you're not free. You got them in Russia. You're free up until the point, if you're all in order and I want to let you be free. And then now here in America, and it seems real, Americans wouldn't have accepted this 50 years ago. Now we're accepting thumb scanning, and now Clinton wants urine and blood testing. That's the point, guys.
I mean, this little cartoon
Doesn't stop.
here, I think it's just perfect as far as showing the current state of affairs.
Well, I mean, now they can just say that you're in a so-called federal flood zone if they want to lay that.
Oh yeah, let me mention that. Real quick. While you're tasting a little bit of that comic strip there, here is an interesting letter from Nations Bank. I'm not. That comes to us. Now it says it's not Nations Bank that's doing this. Basically, what it says here, though, it's talking about. It's talking about basically it says here because your property lies in a federally designated special flood zone area.
I will.
Flood hazard area. We are required to ensure that you maintain adequate flood insurance on your property. So this is all very interesting here.
Or they won't let you bank with them. Isn't that
See,
loving?
now this is another example of the licensing. Now,
You got private banks
Nations
with
Bank.
the Federal Reserve, the private banks, and the IRS. When you sign that, when you sign your bank deal to get a bank account, you sign on to all the federal regulations.
actually, though, the bank is basically just following what's dictated to them in this case. However,
Yeah, they're part of the government now.
yeah, here's an example of control.
since
This is
1913.
an example of control. This whole national floodplain thing.
It's FEMA.
Who is this government?
They're the
to
people
set
building
up,
the concentration camps.
to set up these. So I mean, let me ask you, and let me tell you exactly the way it should be on this. There's nothing wrong with the government that says, okay, Alex Jones's house is in a floodplain, just as a warning.
But if
There's
you want to
nothing
build
wrong
there,
with that.
go ahead. But you
Right. But what is wrong now is when they start dictating and set up another scam, meaning the flood insurance, forcing taxpayers to participate into this insurance.
Well, look at the
program.
government right here, and we have the numbers blocked out so you don't call these.
Okay, basically it says seize sports cars.
This is stolen goods, and it tells you radios, VCRs, everything from IRS and other things. So basically, they are advertising their stolen goods. Well, Mike, you don't even have to do that because we're not showing the number. They are advertising their stolen goods right here. And remember, the IRS, there's no due process. There's no innocent until proven guilty. They just come and seize everything in your house, my friends. The Constitution has been used for toilet paper by these bureaucrats and their controllers. And that's just disgusting. Show them the home. Government foreclosed homes.
Well, no, that's got the number up there. We got to be real careful of that. But anyway, let me
What are you
just...
talking about, Jeff? The number's blocked out.
Not very well, because I could...
Well, I'll just put my thumb there.
Well, let me... Okay, go ahead.
All right.
Put your finger over it.
Let's
Okay.
go ahead and zoom in on that.
Here's the home. Now, basically, the principle to this is...
Yeah, that's a better marker.
Yeah, let me have it, man.
Okay.
The principle to this is, folks, is that if this government is stealing from people in these seizures and then turning around and auction them back off. Now, first, now just think of the mentality of something like that. But secondly, who profits from the system like that? The banks.
Yeah.
Because the person who has earned equity in that that piece of property has paid so many years of equity into it, and then it's taken away from him. And then the bank
starts the cycle over.
Yeah, gets the cycle
Starts
back
the
over
cycle
again.
over.
It ends up back in the bank's hands, and then
see,
they again
Jeff,
sell it.
something people don't understand is that they think along the lines of day to day, week to week. These players that we're fighting against think on a long-term scale. They
Sure.
think very long-term, and so they don't care if it takes a generation to get that house. They don't care. That's why. I mean, think about how many times you're taxed. You're taxed.
Let's get now.
You're taxed on your income. You're taxed
Now
on
we can
sales tax.
do both of them.
You're taxed on property taxes. You're taxed on investments with capital gains tax, and you're taxed with inheritance tax when you die. So, and there's even more taxes. There's taxes passed down in the prices of the products you buy. There is taxes in that the World Trade Organization rules that China can have a 15% tariff on us, and we can only have a 2% on them. I mean, you know, it's, yeah, show that home.
Right there it is, folks. There's the home.
Yeah, people's homes being stolen, families being destroyed. I have friends personally who the IRS doesn't even have any proof. They just take
Government
your home.
foreclosed homes.
Not
There
loving.
it is. Now they're stealing from somebody, and then, like you say, recycling the back into the market. The banks have acquired up all of the equity that was paid into the house, and then now they're going out and going to start the cycle again. And just think of all the abuse. And now, when you go to these things, if you're real dumb and naive,
You're joining in
you
on
really think that you're doing that you've found a loophole in the economy and you're taking advantage of such a wonderful opportunity. Isn't that loving of them to set up a system?
And then you're involved in the violation of others.
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening. Now, this is just a small token of some of the theft going on here, but I want to just stay. Okay, did you answer the question about the what's real liberty? What does it mean?
It means personal responsibility, and then the government and the media's, the modern bureaus of propaganda, the mainstream media, will then counter to us.
Yeah, but don't we need all these hoarded licenses and regulations beaten
Jeff,
down
you want me to
from the
answer
feds?
You want me to answer the question?
Yeah, do we need all that?
Well, let me preface it, and I kind of lost my thought, but
we need that though, because the people are so irresponsible, Alex, that they can't think for themselves.
Yeah. Anyways, well, yeah, and I understand you're joking. Yeah, there's Nelda Spears taking care of you, but really, what it comes down, I lost my thought, but
that's all right.
Yeah, but
points are still being made.
Yeah, really, what it comes down to is that real liberty is taking responsibility, and the media and the bureaus of propaganda will tell you it's your responsibility to submit for the children's sake. And I'm not just saying that. It's always for the children. And
80%.
You have to ask yourself: the more that we rely on this government, the more trouble expands, the more corruption expands. You know, take the Capital Metro thing. We all demanded a referendum, and the state legislature said, no, you can't have it. But what we will do for you is we'll have another layer of bureaucracy, increase Cap Metro's funding by a couple $100 million, and that'll really show them. We'll increase their funding, add a new layer of state bureaucracy. That way we get some of the payoffs from the owners of the of Cap Metro. That way we get into the mafia type deal.
Yeah.
So the big enforcers muscle in. And now the FBI comes down with the Justice Department and has investigations of Cap Metro. And the more they do it, the more they'll. And it said the feds are investigating because they were fixing to bring down all this money for light rail. And aren't we lucky that they're going to bring in all this money for light rail? And so now they're here on the scene. So first locally, then state, and now we really cried out. So the feds, the good stewards, are here to keep us safe.
Speaking of keeping back on this subject,
there's the sheriff of Nottingham up on the screen.
Do you realize, Alex, just how many things you have to do if you go out and you buy a car, all the things you have to tithe to the state before you get out on the
Yeah,
road?
if you drive a faulty vehicle, hold on.
First you have
hold
sales
on.
tax.
If you drive a faulty vehicle and kill somebody or hurt somebody, you should be thrown in the hole for 10 years.
Yeah, you should be
And
punished.
then people will
Right.
drive a nice car.
Right, but what you have now, that's the old liberty, that's the real mechanism. You're free to
And
do.
then that
But let
puts,
me-
hold on, then that puts the incentive for people to train their kids, for people to be
Right.
their own
In
stewards.
other words, be responsible for yourselves instead of having big bureaucrats.
And then we don't need the
dictating
government with
that.
big buildings off in Washington controlled by foreign banks that own our country.
And what else?
They're dismantling your freedom.
What else is funny about this system that's in
Again, we're
place?
just theorists.
Let me just mention one other thing too.
The revolution in military affairs.
Let me mention this. It's one other
Conflict
thing
short of war.
that's real interesting.
This is control of population. Conflicts short of war. The revolution in military affairs and conflict short of war. And this is U.S. War Army College talking about transmitters for the general public.
Let me mention this. I want to mention this. Now, what's really interesting in all of this licensing and fees and all of this permits and stuff is that if somebody goes out and first off, most of the licenses there's a victimless crime in these fines and things. In other words, no victim has been violated except the state, and with the fine, the penalty goes to the state. Now, let me make this point because this is interesting. Even if there is somebody that gets violated now under this current system that we live under, for example, I had a friend that had 50 cows from his neighbor come into his property, 50 cows intruded into his property, yeah, and he woke up one morning, here's all these cows sitting out there in his yard, right? Okay, so he calls the sheriff. Sheriff comes out there, and this fellow's been violated. His neighbor the cows broke through the fence.
And he says, rather than me take this guy to jail or do something like that, he said, call the bureaucrats and they'll get the money.
Yeah, but that's what I'm getting to. So he calls the sheriff out. Now, there is assessed a fine in this situation, which is interesting because now this is the interesting part of this.
But does it go to pay for your?
Guess who got the money for the fine? It wasn't the person's house that was violated by the cows. It went to the sheriff's department. So even when they're supposedly doing things that come in crossing the board into the area where people are being violated, the violator under this current Roman system that we live doesn't even get
only the state is strengthened and the state's
right.
controls.
It's revenue enhancement. That's what these fines. See that it all comes really. Bottom line is, folks, it all comes down to this. This is the
Federal Reserve
Yeah.
system.
Now basically, we've got a debt usury money system that's eating us alive, and they have to set up huge bureaucracies, huge regulatory agencies, and huge licenses and fines and permits and fees to perpetrate.
Well, you asked me what the solution is. I'm telling the people out there the solution is to stop giving all the power over to the government. They've already got all the power. Now we need to just try to keep some remnant of it. You know, people have this argument that, well, that's the way it's always been, or oh, well, it's our fault, or you know, you can't do anything about it. You can't beat City Hall. Well, that's because they've instilled that in us that we can't beat City Hall. You can beat City Hall. You just got to get together and start. If everybody out there that sees this show would just do their own little act of defiance, stand up, don't tattle on neighbors with water waster hotlines.
Quit begging bureaucrats to do favors for
Because
us.
let me tell you something. These bureaucrats only care about enhancing their power, and
That's right.
And they're taking our liberties.
That's right.
And they're obsessed with controlling our kids. They've got the kids against the parents, the blacks against the whites, the women against the men against the women, the whites against the blacks, the Hispanics against the blacks, blah, blah, blah. It's a divide and conquer, but basically it always cycles in. The bigger the problems get, to the more power they get. Where's the incentive? It's for more problems. It's for more bureaucracy.
Because let me answer something, folks. Anarchy, which isn't adequately defined in any real sense.
It's impossible in
but
groups.
The fact
it's impossible with our society.
The only way you're really going to the difference between what I would like a very minimal government, which basically does protect the lives and property of the people, and that's it.
Peacekeepers,
right.
But now they're law enforcement.
Yeah, and peace officers have been replaced now with law enforcement. Revenue generation, which only makes us
fuels the system,
creates victimless crime,
fuels the predatory system with an ever-increasing hunger for control of your life, control of your resources.
I read something the other day.
And the education and the indoctrination of you
I
and your
read
family.
something the other day that as many as 47 people are sitting in the state prison system right now with basically what would be considered victimless crime. Even the story suggested that. In other words, nobody's been violated except this person has broke some law that's been created by the state.
Well, look, if the IRS really wants to, and the media will never report it, they can take your home, take you to federal prison, and you never broke one law.
Now, let me just mention, folks, I got a few announcements here. First off, last Sunday of every month,
Chariot Inn.
At Chariot Inn.
Coming up the next few months is going to be Joyce Riley
and
Waco Remembers. Don't listen to the media. Come down and meet some of the Davidians yourself. That doesn't mean you agree with everything that happened out there, or you come find out the truth for yourself. It'll be very educational.
Last Sunday of every month.
And then Tex Mars is coming up in 3 months.
That's at the Chariot Inn. And also, February 22nd.
It's free to the public, too. It's open.
February 22nd is the Jeff Davis Show has sponsored, in part, been able to make the connections to get several surviving Branch Davidians down here to Austin, and they're going to be at the Chariot Inn on Sunday, February the 22nd of 1998. That's 98, not 97. Sunday, February 22nd of 1998. Also, there was a couple of other things I've actually... Okay, our live show is on Monday nights. This is our tape news series on Thursdays that you're watching. But our live show is Monday nights, 7 o'clock p.m. on Channel 10. And that's the bulk of our live show. And then Alex's show is on Tuesday nights.
8:30 to 11.
From 8:30 to 11.
And it's usually live. I mean, sometimes they'll tune in and our shows aren't live.
Yeah, and you run a lot of tapes and stuff too, right?
Yeah.
So there's now this our show here again is the this is going to be, we're scheduling this for our 4th edition here, so start telling your friends and family. Now tape these programs as well, folks. I know there's a lot of people that tape my live show. I've had at least a dozen people tell me that.
It's very vital because we don't know how long these venues are going to be here, and it's vital that people all the time call me and want to buy something from me. And I say that I don't do that. What you need to do is tape these programs for yourselves and get them out to your friends. Spread this information.
And all of this that we do here at the Jeff Davis Show is totally non-copyright.
You can change people's lives. You can really change people's lives out there if you just have the will to start educating yourself. That's the biggest solution, is education. Realize that the media is nothing but propaganda arms. 6 big corporations in U.S. media, they all have interlocking stock. They all have joint ventures. It's one big beast, guys. And organized religion is totally in their hip pocket. And it's just sick how the NEA, the National Education Association, here's the fact. The bigger the NEA gets, the more power, the more federal standardized testing we get, the more control our states are controlled by the feds. They take our money from the states. And then they give it back to us with strings attached about how to train and tell our kids about how wonderful the United Nations is, and play spaceship and bomb shelter where there's 6 kids around a table and only 2 can live, or and they decide who has to live. They think not problem solving. Getting kids used to hearing about this, and I've talked about this live, and kids have called in and said, "Yeah, we do that in junior high."
And tell how we're down in global.
How much time do we have?
Oh, and exactly. Give up your rights.
I want to get a close-up
Give up your rights because of global warming. Give up your rights. Give up your rights. It's bull. The whole environmentalist movement has nothing to do with that. Yeah, he wants a close-up.
Yeah, I want to get a close-up of it. Now, folks, this is something that's quite interesting. It says political dominance.
We also got the footage coming up that the cows have been violated.
Okay, through 4 political dominance is through 4. It's actually been longer than that, but this is the 4 administrations they choose. You will see here, folks, that this is the. Maybe we can't get a very good close-up of this, but this is the latest, one of the latest letters from the Fund to Restore an Educated Electorate, and basically we need to get the top of it so we can show the. Well, okay. Basically, this is the CFR Trilateral Commission. Now, Alex, if you will, while I'm showing this, bring the camera up a little bit. I've got it down as far as I can here. Well, anyway, this is the latest. This is one of the latest charts here. There's the tricycle, which is a symbol for the Trilateral Commission. Tell us a little bit about these groups here, Alex.
Don't take it down.
Come on, Mike, you're getting louder and louder in here. Mike needs a hold. Come on,
go ahead.
Well, this ain't Dan Rather. Tune over to Dan Rather.
That's right. Dan Rather will give you plenty of teleprompter with CFR messages for you.
Tell us about them groups.
You want me to?
Yeah.
Okay, you really want me to, though?
Yeah, go ahead and
Okay.
tell us about that.
All right, well, the Council on Foreign Relations, I believe, was it started in the 20s?
1919.
Yeah. And really got well ordered. The Council on Foreign Relations, Sandy Berger gets up there on TV, our national security advisor, runs the National Security Agency, and it tells us about the global regime of power. I mean, they're pretty much, because of shows like this and others across the country, they're coming right out and telling you what's happening, where they're going, how they're dismantling the country, and how it's going to help the kids. And, because international control, not you have any control. But remember, you're asking for it, they say. And basically that was started. And then in 1973, Brzezinski.
Brzezinski.
Yes, and his daughter's on, is it NBC or?
CBS Up to the Minute.
CBS Up to the Minute. Well, he and David Rockefeller, and then later they brought Jimmy Carter and, that loving nuclear physicist.
Okay. Let him go ahead and explain these groups.
And tell the story how they don't give the fines to me.
I did already. Okay.
Yeah.
But
I'll explain whenever you're ready. I will.
But basically, they're just elitist front group.
Well, yes, the Trilateral Commission is an absolute elitist front group, and these things exist. They're concrete. They're on C-SPAN.
And
they have. Well, I mean, the CFR.
And they're interconnected.
Yeah, the CFR. Well, it's like the Congress. One's the Senate. One's the House.
All right.
And
now, Alex, here's the footage of this person being violated on his property. Now, keep in mind, when the fine was assessed...
And there's a lot of pretty plants growing over there. I've been over to this person's house.
When the fine... Now, this is cows coming over
cows.
From a neighbor that broke through their fence one morning and ended up on another person's property.
I believe the cows did it like 3 times before Mike really got mad.
Now, what was interesting about it was when the county came out to assess the fine, because it was clearly stated that this fellow had been violated. Mike didn't get any of the assessment for the fine. It went for revenue generation.
Well, of course he didn't.
Now, see, that's all quite interesting, folks. That's the. In fact, I got another quick interesting story on this. When we was up in Ohio in June of this year, '97, my daughter, I had to call an ambulance for my daughter like at 3 o'clock in the morning, man, because I was, she was starting to panic and said she was hurt real bad. I thought she had her appendix had bursted, so I called the ambulance, right, rushed her over to this hospital, and about 2 months later, after I gotten back, I got this loving bill for $350 for this ambulance service. Now, what I was always thought, Alex, and correct me...
Because we paid for that.
Yeah, I thought these were free. I thought these services, were... Maybe I'm just... maybe I didn't understand it. So, the point is, if they don't collect our fines, if they don't collect violations for us, if they don't pay for our ambulance services and all of this out of our property taxes and all these things, then what is all this going for?
What your producer is not showing is the other side of that home has a lot of pretty plants and things that the cows ate.
Yeah, he was violated, but he has to go through another process now to try to collect the fine from the.
Yeah, they are in the flower beds.
So
it's a lovely home out there.
So you understand. So the point is, folks, the point I think the whole point of this story, of this show, and and kind of the gist of the live program we was on earlier today, is that we have to quit depending upon...
Well, these people are gangsters. They're absolute 100% total gangsters. The whole incentive is for more control, more corruption, more abuse, and then the whole thing is to is to make us weak, dumb us down, make us a bunch of cogs in a filthy machine. It's lack of vision. It's a wild beast. It's out of control. I think the interests that have created this actually are losing control because of the vicious, the thugs that they're producing and making, and the military people that they are putting in power, like John Shalikashvili, one of our Chairman George's staff, the son of a death camp operator who replaced Colin Powell, who was, CFR. I mean, what we're sitting here doing is that these leaders have to know that what they're creating is going to be extremely dangerous for them in the future. I mean, this thing creates a very unstable system. In the name of stability worldwide, these guys are ushering in absolute Babylon.
I do have a quick suggestion for anybody that seeks solutions, and that's very basic, folks. You don't run to thugs to help you or to provide so-called services. basically what you're dealing with, folks, in all of these situations is wolves in sheep's clothing. The Bible's warned us about this. Christ said that...
Oh, wait, you just said the Bible. All those loving, intelligent atheists will never listen to a word you say. They won't check out Executive Order 12,986 when Bill Clinton handed over our parks. I mean, I want to ask people out there, I want to ask them something. How in the hell can you question anything we say when you haven't checked it out?
That's right.
And I've brought it in here, it's Executive Order 12,986 100 times.
Because they're programmed not to check it out.
I mean, what the hell's going on when the UN gains control of a bunch of our parks and monuments?
Okay, folks.
And there were protests. You didn't hear about it in the media. They put up those baby blue signs up in front of the parks. People raised hell at Mammoth Cave, Yellowstone, Yosemite, which they've now shut down to cars, or they're getting ready to, and then people's the plan. And then later they'll just sell it off. It's all about control. What can they get you to accept? And that's why I say long live the Constitution and death to the New World Order. And what does that mean, death to the New World Order? It means death to corruption, death to apathy, and life to rebirth and standing up, because we will never
Put that
get
plate back,
yes
that thing back.
we will we will never get rid of corruption. We will never get rid of corruption. But if you don't stand up to it, it's going to overrun you. It's going to keep overrunning you. So it's time to stand up and start thinking for yourselves and realize that you're being conned and realize that they're handing you a whole bucket of horse crap.
And for people inside the mechanism.
And they don't care about the kids.
I
mean, say what you said earlier, Jeff. It's not what we can do for the kids. It's not what we're going to do for the kids. It's what the government's going to do for the kids with national health care and for kids.
You can watch.
Listen, they want the next generation. They've already got them in the public schools. They're dumbing them down. They're teaching them nothing but weakness.
They're starting Head Start earlier now, too.
Yeah,
loving Head Start. But basically, folks, the bottom line is this. If you want a solution, look, you can't depend on thugs for your retirement. You can't depend on thugs for your so-called security. Thugs will absorb these mechanisms.
I think it's time for this again.
Take what you have and use it against you. That's what's happening now.
Let's get one more shot of this.
Let me just say this one thing.
I want to leave this up for quite a while. This illustrates it all.
Clinton is a beautiful wolf in sheep's clothing. I mean, this guy, everything he says is for the country or the kids. I mean, he's pretty slick, and if you're not attuned to these characters, you could fall prey to this. Now, let's put this up.
I want to get the first one and then the bottom one. The bottom
if you put this, the bottom.
Yeah. First, let's first the top one and then let's do the bottom one.
These are little cartoons we're using here to show here tonight, just to give you a little bit.
And think about it for a second. I mean, how could the Aztecs accept sacrificing tens of thousands of their children? Everybody was doing it. How could the Romans get away with it? People accepted it. It was the culture they were in. Well, this didn't go on 50 years ago in America, my friends. There's always been abuses in this country, like with any other country. But yeah, that's perfect. I mean, there you got it. There's Germany up there in the top corner. Then there's Russia. You're free as long as I say you're free. And
it's an illusion of freedom.
It's a total illusion.
It's just like you say you own your home, folks. You actually don't. You're not owning your home, because if you don't, even if you get the banknote paid off, if you don't pay your property taxes, the property is going to come take your home. So the fact is, we don't really own anything. We don't really have the freedom that they say that we do. There are a few left. Fortunately, we can still come on these shows and have talk radio and television shows and talk about some of these things. Although I believe attempts could be made at that type of this type of information here somewhere down the road to stamp it out.
Yeah, and it's funny how they put up these drug checkpoints when it's been documented the CIA since Vietnam has been bringing in heroin and coke.
That's right, documented.
Now here's a clip I wanted. Let's get this. This says the old highwaymen.
Better. You can talk about it, but let me.
It's just incredible.
Can we get a close up of the second one here?
And let's leave that up.
The second one here, if we could.
You'll come in and we'll go.
But basically, folks, this is what we're talking about. Don't quit believing thugs.
Yeah, people used to stop people on the wagon trains and say, with masks on, and say, pay a poll tax. And now some of your law enforcement, multi-jurisdictional task forces under federal control are busted in houses. Oh, they just see things. Back it up just a little bit because we can't see.
Yeah, back it up just a hair.
And what they're doing is they are busting in people's houses with ski masks.
That's not. You got to get the top of it too.
You can just back it up on the back there on the.
Maybe not.
Well, Mike, if you just back up on the camera, there we go. Now freeze it there. That's good.
The Peter Jennings crew.
Okay, that's good.
The Peter Jennings crew didn't show up.
Freeze it right there.
Hey,
okay.
we're doing the best job we can.
If you don't like it, tune over to him. He's on.
Yeah,
right
but
now.
listen, again, Peter Jennings does have
He
does have $100 million set. He does have a teleprompter with CFR brainwashing material coming off on it 24 hours a day, and he has no reason to lie to you. He's a very truthful person that never manipulates the truth and never divides anybody. So just trust in him. Don't So there you have it. The old highwayman. Yeah, pay the toll. And down there below, yeah, Al Gore's test. Yeah, you got this, you got that. Basically, it's the same system. They're not interested in criminals anymore, punishing criminals. They're interested in fleecing good, hard-working people that are just producers. Parasites have taken over. Government parasites.
Let me just read a couple of quick quotes here, folks.
Dr. Benjamin Rush.
Dr. Benjamin Rush, essay 1786. Education is favorable to liberty. Freedom can exist only in the society of knowledge. Without learning, men are incapable of knowing their rights, and where learning is confined to a few people, liberty can be neither equal nor universal.
Well, you know what they do, showing us all these checkpoints and all these stops endlessly in the news? They're desensitizing us to the police state.
Now here's Benjamin Franklin, 1759. They that can give up essential liberties, Benjamin Franklin. They that can give up essential liberty to obtain a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety.
And Thomas Jefferson said it better. He said they deserve, nor will they get it. They will invite the wolves.
And listen, here's another Thomas Jefferson.
If you make yourselves blind, trusting, little giggling sheep.
Listen to this. This is good. Here's Thomas. If a nation expects to be ignorant and free in a state of civilization, it expects what never was and never will be. Where the press is free and every man able to read, all liberty and property is safe. Listen to what it.
Now, but remember,
if
free
a nation,
press.
In other words,
free press means you're really free to say what you want, and now they've taken over the press by control and manipulation. You do not have a free press in this country. Little access television stations are about the only thing. Shortwave radio and some talk radio.
Internet.
And that's why it's being called hate radio. Is because you can get something longer than a soundbite on there.
Let me just
They hate it. All they want is sound bites, my friends. Brainwashing, conditioning, classical conditioning.
Let me just restate this. Thomas Jefferson, 1816. If a nation expects to be ignorant and free, it expects what never was and never will be.
That's it.
I'd say that pretty well sums it up.
No, that sums it up, Jeff. But again, people can get the real information if they would just dig for it. Actually get the bills. Again, H.R. 902, Ron Paul's trying to stop Clinton's handover to the UN, but you never heard about it on the media, did you? But you'll hear about some bill for a new program.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of, it's going to be real interesting to see.
Guys, remember, what we're talking about not important. The Cowboys are what's important. The Green Bay Packers, that's important. That's important to the future of your children is the Cowboys. So forget what we're talking about. And, you know, we shouldn't get excited and all serious about liberty and freedom. Woo! How about the Coach Mack?
That's right.
How them Longhorns can do this year?
Yeah, that's where it's at, folks. Now, I'm not trying to make it because all of these people are vulnerable to this. I will say this.
Talk about the mechanism and how a lot of police are getting educated to this and how that's the real weakness.
That is the Achilles heel. And I was going to mention that earlier.
If they're enforcers,
folks, if you're watching this and you happen to be APD or Leander PD, or if you're listening and they're hearing this, I want you to know if what we're saying is true.
Even 10%.
And I think, that means you're in the same situation we are. I mean, so this is why it's very important to spread this information and let the people decide. Take some time to investigate this stuff. Believe you me, folks, I would like to believe that this wasn't happening.
Me too.
I would like to just go on and press on doing what I'm doing.
Jeff, something that the police... You know, a lot of police come to me and tell me about this, how they're training with the military.
I've had...
how they're training with the military, how they don't like it, but please don't say their name on the air, SWAT team people, you name it. And I can't say that enough. They're waking up. People like Jack McClan, Police Against the New World Order, they're educating and just droves of police. They see it happening. They go out and train with the military, and it's sniper training. It's training, confiscating goods, compensating...
How much time, Mike?
I mean, you want to go ahead and talk to Mike?
No, that's right. How much time?
Thanks.
About 3 minutes.
I'm just getting how much.
So here it is right here. Jack McClam, show that to me. Operation Vampire Killer.
Right there it is, folks.
And so if their enforcers start not being enforcers and start waking up to what's happening, that really weakens their mechanism.
Now, this guy that wrote this book, folks, used to be, he is the most highly decorated police commander, police chief.
Let me read this.
in
American
Phoenix,
Police, hold on.
Arizona.
American Police Military Action Plan for Stopping World Government Rule. And that's what we're headed into. Hell, every time you turn on CNN or ABC, all you hear about is how wonderful global freedom's coming. You won't have any freedom. They will take away your individual rights for collective. If the individual doesn't have rights, the smallest unit of the society, then I guarantee you that you don't have any rights.
You had a fellow on your show well, you've had a fellow on your show, former APD, that stepped out of the mechanism.
Keith Campbell.
There's
some loving. Again, now they're wearing ski masks. Like you said, when you were in the Air Force, Jeff, you were trained to shoot people that look like that.
Yeah, I was actually told and trained to shoot people wearing ski masks. With that, folks, I think we're about winding down this segment. Again, my live program right now is on Monday nights at 7 p.m. on Channel 10. That's Monday nights, the Jeff Davis Show live version on Monday nights, Channel 10. Alex's show is on live on Tuesday nights on 8:30 to 11 o'clock on Channel 10. And we've got the seminars the last Sunday of every month. There's a lot of things happening here, and we've got a lot of. I'm going to be talking about later down the road about micro broadcasting or so-called pirate radio, and
how they're coming after that.
And I believe that that's a vital mechanism. But with that, God bless you, Austin, Texas. Alex Jones, thank you very much.
Long live the Constitution and death to the New World Order, death to tyranny. And guys, believe me, it's a lot worse than we present. It's a lot worse.
Watch out for martial law. When he's out there watching after you. If he's a tool of the bankster, he's a badge-wearing gangster. An agent straight from Interpol. Watch out for martial law. He's there to prove who owns the muscle and might. And he just might pull you over to the side of the shoulder, cause he cannot see your license plate light. Because he cannot see your license plate light. Ain't it a frightening feeling when...
Okay, this is Victoria, and we came up here to support her in Williamson County. They're trying to steal her children, and I want you to tell your story about what happened today and what they're trying to do to you here in Williamson County. Thank God you're getting out of Williamson County.
My rights are about to be terminated on my daughter. She's my 8th child. My rights were terminated on my other 7 children. They were removed from my parents' home, and my dad was only under suspicion. He was never charged. There's no case number. He was only charged he was only accused of it in 1996, and I was incarcerated for an $80 check from 1988. And I went away for 2 years for an $80 check. And when I come back home, I have a house within 30 days and a job and everything I need. And I was made so many false allegations that I'm a drug addict, that I don't have a house, I don't have a job, and all of that's false. That every order that CPS would bring to the court, the judge would sign it. And my rights were terminated because of those false allegations, malicious prosecution, false prosecution. The judge hates me, he hates my father, he hates my family, he just hates us.
Why do he hate you, ma'am?
He hates us because I didn't sign any papers to get my father arrested.
Why would he hate you? Because you wouldn't sign papers to get your father arrested?
Because CPS, in exchange to get my kids back, I would have to send my father away to prison for a long time. I would have to bring false charges that he raped me, he molested me when I was growing up.
So really anybody extorts you? I
had to sell my soul for a Tootsie Roll. I had to sign papers that my father molested me when I was growing up, so my father could get
Are you a victim of any kind of child abuse?
No, my father never molested me, but I had to sign papers to get my children back.
So somebody just basically called to CPS to get something started, so just off the word of somebody calling in, they turn around and did that?
So they just made up whatever they wanted to make up.
Why did they take her babies from her?
They told you to show up here today, here in Williamson County. You live in South Austin. What happened? Tell us what happened.
What happened is I went in the courtroom and CPS wasn't here. The court was rescheduled for April the 4th at 2 p.m. of 2002, and I had no recollection of it. I never got any notice in the mail of it, and the judge let me know of the reschedule for the court. And I don't have an attorney, and he told me that, you know.
Hey, but you know what? Bottom line, she didn't get no notice, but she showed up. This is the most important point.
A lot of people
Nobody else wasn't here, but she was here for her babies.
Yeah.
You know,
I'll tell your story where we can get it down.
Well, the whole deal boils down to this. She got 8 kids took away from her through Williamson County because allegations brought against my dad. He was never charged with a crime. He was, I mean, he'd never seen one day of jail, and they just popped up one day and just started taking her kids. And it's sad, you know, that we live in a society like this. And then along with CPS, and she went through all the counseling and everything else, and because she didn't sign papers against my father, they made her life impossible.
She was a wise woman.
They made her life impossible. And I witnessed, my whole family witnessed, the whole town of Taylor witnessed what they done to my sister. And they done the same thing
They
to another
treat you like an
friend.
animal over here, like you don't have any rights, like you're still in slave time.
You go, girl.
They treat you like animals here. We don't have any rights. We don't have any constitutional rights. It's a lie. And the whole court system is involved. The judges is involved. The county attorney's involved. The whole system. If you go against one, you go against the whole county.
So, hey.
Yeah. It's ridiculous, Mike. I'm telling you, it is ridiculous that what she's been through, the thousands of dollars. She gave Stuart Whitlow in Round Rock, Texas, I don't know how many thousands of dollars, and he come here and he had lunch with CPS. They sat down and drank coffee and laughed. He didn't say one thing for my sister, and we didn't know at that point that he was a court-appointed lawyer also here for Williamson County. And we just been through so much, and we want her 8 kids back, and we need them back.
Why do you need
That's
them
our
back?
family, that's our
Thank
blood.
You. That's family. That's the point, family. And this lady is crying
She
out
never
of passion.
abused her kids.
I've never abused any of my children.
Show them your babies.
Put them up
And
close,
if you knew
sweetie.
anybody was hurting your babies, what
Right
would
there,
you
sweetie.
do?
We'll turn it up a little bit, sweetie, because you got it sideways.
And you said they stole that one right out of
anything,
there.
I just go nuts to protect them. This child is Jennifer, and they're trying to terminate the rights on her. They were trying to terminate them today, but it was a reschedule. And this child got this hernia right after they took her. I was breastfeeding her. She was 2 weeks old. I had just had her, and they just took her. They took her. They just grabbed her. There's no abuse going on. I was with her 24 hours a day, but I was living on my father's premises. A man who was only under suspicion in 1996, only under suspicion, no charges, no arrests for child abuse, and the police in Taylor came with CPS to pick my daughter up on March 15th, and they took her and they threatened that they called a transit car to lock me up and press charges on me if I didn't let this 2-week-old baby go. And she got a hernia. When she got in there, she cried so much for breast milk, her umbilical cord exposed.
Ma'am, you said your father was accused of child abuse.
Yeah, but
Who was he accused of child abusing?
One of her kids.
One of your
My
children.
niece,
but there was no ground.
CPS got together with CPS down there in South Texas. A lady by the name of Patricia Salinas got together with CPS here in Williamson County, and they made her life impossible.
They stalked us, they
She
made her
went
life
for a
miserable.
psychological evaluation. She done everything the courts asked her to do. She got her house.
I got 3 perfectly well psychological evaluations. CPS, Denise Monomar and Kim Gibbons begged every doctor, psychiatrist, psychologist they could to say that I was crazy, and I have a perfect mental history, psychological history. I'm perfectly well. I passed every psychological exam evaluation with flying colors. I've been to 2 colleges, a high school graduate, been to 2 colleges, have college credits, and in 20 minutes, 3 weeks before the termination hearing in 2000, May of 2000, in April of 2000, Dr. Mary Fear, she diagnosed me as mentally insane, psychologically ill, and I needed years and years of medication and treatment, that I was a sick child, that I needed to be in a mental institution in 20 minutes. I've never seen her in my life. But that was to be used 3 weeks later at the termination to terminate my rights of my children. Finally, CPS got her to lie and falsify the results of a psychological evaluation. A doctor, a licensed doctor in Hidalgo County.
And I think, let me just say this, I think any sane woman would fight for her children. I think you're insane if you don't fight for your children. She wants her children back.
Yeah.
What did you learn out of this experience, first of all?
That the system is crooked, the system is dirty, the system is illegal.
That there is no justice. There's possibly just us. This is what the young lady said. But baby, you know what? I understand you the passion and the pain that you are expressing, a lot of other women that are incarcerated, you are free, and then you would reschedule. There are women, especially black women, incarcerated, and they can't get out and go to court to fight for their children back. And the court system set the battle up at the time when they know these mothers are incarcerated. If you're incarcerated, how the heck are you gonna go and fight for your children? Mike asked me to come, and I'm here because Mike asked me to come. You know what?
Thank you.
But I want information for the people back in Austin, and so we can embrace them and let them know. Hell, this shit is still happening from then. It's happening from
Well, this is happening in Travis and Williams County and every other county. Because it's a money-making business for them to steal your children.
Yes, it is. Child Protective Services get from the state $2,000 in grants and state funds a month per each child that they can detain from their parents.
How much?
$2,000 a month. And they distribute $1,000 to the foster parents, and they keep $1,000 for their funding. And when they do finally terminate your rights, the state gives them $250,000 per child.
Yeah.
For terminating your rights.
Yes. Okay. I want you to look in that camera. Let's let her look into this camera, and you tell Austin, Texas. You tell them what they're doing to you and how you feel about this, what they're doing with your children.
I feel that everyone in the court system is dirty. That the CPS are liars. They're malicious and false prosecution, malicious prosecution and false prosecutors, and they fill the court reports full of lies. And the judge doesn't care what I have to say or the mothers have to say. All they care is what CPS has to say, and the judge signs every court order just about the CPS rights. They don't care. The judge is just with the state. He wants to take every kid. He helps the state take every kid that he can away because it's a money-making thing for the state. I don't know how each of them get money out of it, but they're doing it. They're doing it.
You were accused of leaving your baby with a child molester or a child abuser or what?
I was accused just because I was living on the same premises in an RV trailer near this supposedly designated perpetrator. I was only living in the premises. I never left her.
Yeah, but
you protected your child. What you're saying in all the time, you never left.
I never left her
personally with him along where he could do anything to her.
Never. I hardly
in the court did they prove that you left her along with
No,
him?
they didn't. They just took her, and the judge signed the orders, and he said, "We have probable cause. We're keeping her." My father he's 100% African American. They don't like African Americans in this county. They don't like Hispanics Americans in this county. I'm born and raised in Taylor, Texas, in Williamson County, so I know with all my heart how it is.
Well, I just want to say this also. I tell my sister, once we get out of this ordeal, if we make it, let's go back down to the valley, throw by Yuko, west side. It's no fair shake here in this county. We was raised in this county, we went to school in this county, we paid taxes in this county, and they just violated our constitutional rights. They just come through our house, they just took the kids. I mean, when we come to the courtroom, we didn't have one chance at all. Not one chance. They fabricated allegations and they put things together on us that wasn't even true, things that we had never heard before. And
okay, so you said they came through your house. I want you to dress up.
They come to the house.
The Austin citizens and the citizens
they
that are going to view it. When they came to your house, what did they do? When they came to your house, please tell us.
They done the same thing in the valley. They come to the house. They took the kids. They took the kids. They just come and just take the kids.
I moved to Hidalgo County because I was being threatened so much by the Child Protective Services in Williamson County. I left and moved to Hidalgo County and got me a house immediately. And they put a protective order because they didn't want no communication between me and my children. So I had to see my children in a little room twice a month. And then I had to have the Mission Police in Mission, Texas, Hidalgo County patrol my yard, to patrol my street, because Patricia Salinas and Denise Martimar, which is Denise Martimar's from Round Rock CPS, she kept going to the valley on the plane, trying to pick up Michael Brian Vance Jr., my 4-month-old baby, trying to just pick him up, just take him, to make it look like I'm an unfit mother and bring him back to Williamson County, and she succeeded. She just picked him up and had my mom sign a document. My mom didn't want that child, and she brought him back. She brought him back to Williamson County, and I haven't seen him since. And that's 2.5 years ago.
Yeah, There's that 4 of them came by here since we've been.
I think we better roll then.
Yeah. Well, is there anything? Is there? Well, she didn't finish her story. And now tell what's going on now. What's your plans in the future?
This guy with y'all?
Well,
Yeah,
I'm trying to find the best attorney that I can, somebody who's willing to come over here in this illegal court system and stand up, because people are afraid to come over here because they can't believe that they can't believe that this court system is so crooked and so dirty and so illegal.
And you've seen it firsthand.
And I've seen it firsthand. And I'm trying to get some judge. I need a federal judge. I need a federal courthouse. This judge hates my guts. He hates my father's guts. Because my father's not in...
your kids.
And we
hates my guts, too.
We also hoping to catch some type of national attention on this case and on this situation. Once they go through all the paperwork and everything, they will find out the truth. They took her kids for nothing, for no reason at all.
Well, they'll see it on Access TV in Austin, so that'll be a start.
And like I say, you know, thank you a lot. Thank y'all a lot for supporting us and standing by us, and we need more people like y'all in this system.
We need more people like y'all to stand up for y'all family and y'all loved ones. And
Mike Hanson, you're a good guy.
Oh, Mike is a good guy.
Hey.
You're a fantastic guy, man. Hey, look here. Peace out.
Yeah.
Surprised at who hear you. You'd be surprised. It's okay, sweetie. Listen, I love you. I don't even know you, but I love you because I can't even know where you going.
It's not fair to stealing children.
My mama was a poet, and my daddy had 2 months. And he never brought me Christmas gift.
I just want to say, Christy, Joe, Cornelia, Mark, Sandy, Maria, and Mike Jr., if you're watching, I love you with all my heart. I'm going to fight to the last breath in me for you guys. Whatever it takes, I'll go to the ends of the earth till I get you guys back. If it kills me, I'm going to get you guys back. In the name of Jesus.
She's going to go down fight. There you go. And that's love. That's recorded. And you two brothers. You want to say anything to your
that's it, man. Like I say, I appreciate everything, and hey, y'all keep y'all good work up also, because hey, I know if we can get people like y'all in these offices, a lot of things would change. They look at you at a certain level in life and they just step right over you see. So money here, and it's all about the money here in this county. And like I say, we need peoples like y'all, Mike Hanson. We need you peoples to get these positions, these offices, and whatever, to help peoples out like us.
Well, we need y'all to get out and vote.
Strong voice.
Tell everybody to get out and vote.
Everybody get out and vote for Mike Hanson. And I'm gonna throw West Side for all you homeboys out there in the valley. If y'all get a hold to this tape, and people that's living here in Williamson County that's going through the same thing we going through, I hope they get their hands on this, on this tape.
Organized.
Your wife, your sister can be, and you can be leaders of this organization. Y'all need to organize.
We're gonna work something out. We're gonna work something out here. In God's name, you know. We love our family. Don't nobody want their kids living in other people's houses for no reason at all. You see?
Yeah.
We love our kids. Just like these people love their kids, we love our kids. Don't nobody want their kids spread it all over the United States. You can't talk to them. You can't go visit them. You can't go see them. It's a business, man. It's all about money, man. I even said in the courtroom, it's all about money, man.
It's political and financial.
And this Juergens guy sat there on the stand. He go home and eat dinner with his kids every night. You know, he's got a good. He's got his family together. But here we are, spending thousands and thousands of dollars, struggling, trying to pay rent, trying to get our family back. We want our kids back home. We love our kids. That's what we want, man. That's all we shooting for. You know, we can take care of our kids. We can probably make more money than they make. You know, we live better than they live.
Not when they tie you up in court all day.
No.
Go. That's the problem, sir, and that's what I want to address.
So, like I say, you know, it's destroying us, man. We ain't gonna stop till we get our kids back in this county. And if it take 10 more years from today, we're gonna do something. We want national attention on this county right here. We want national attention on what they're doing. And there's 5 other families here in this county that I know of that they done took their kids away from them also. And So
And come over here and tell us how you feel about your sister one more time, because she is such a lovely
I love
person.
my sister, and I watched my sister struggle through the years, and I love my sister, and I watched my sister struggle through the years with this whole situation, this whole ordeal. Say this, Mike, man. We need more peoples like you in office, man. And like I say, man, if we can get, I hope you get this commissioner deal over there in South Austin, man. You will help a lot of us, man, out. Because these peoples, once they get in these offices, all they think about is the money. They forget about the people. You see what I'm saying? And that's the problem here in Williamson County. These people don't do nothing but think about the money. They don't care about your kids, if you're making it this or that. They thinking about the money, man. That's all they worry about. It's a money system set up here. So, hey, man, good luck, man, and I'm going to be voting for you, and I'm going to be out there working for you, man.
Good. God bless you.
Hey, peace out, bro. Peace out.
Okay, folks, we're back with another horror story here. We got Olga going to tell you her story of how the CPS has absolutely destroyed her life, too. Go ahead and tell her. And we're going to have to get her an interpreter because she speaks Spanish. Go ahead.
Yes, and I'm Victoria Castillo, and I'm here interpreting for Olga Alvarez.
And they've stole your children, too.
My 8 children have been stolen from me, and CPS is after my 9th children. No abuse involved, no convictions, no court records, only false accusations by CPS to make money off of these kids, that I'm a bad mother. They tried to force me into signing false documents to incarcerate my dad for the rest of his life, and when I didn't do that, put an innocent man behind bars. I've been living without my 8 children for the last 3 years. And here's Olga's here to tell you her story.
Has another story. I mean, how many women am I going to have to go through to let y'all know out there that this is a problem? It's a very, very serious problem in Travis County, and now I'm starting to find out that it's going on in Caldwell, Williamson, Gonzales County, Hayes County. It's going on everywhere, folks, all over the United States. Somebody needs to stand up and say, no more. Stop using our children as an industry. Okay, Olga, tell us what you want to say to the people in Austin, and then she will interpret. Tell her to say her story.
Habla tu historia, con todo tu corazón.
Speak up, speak up.
Porque va a ver todo.
Se llevaron mis 3 niños.
Olga's 3 children were removed from her custody.
Stephanie, Ricky, and Gabi.
Stephanie, Ricky, and Gabi.
And I went to, let me just say this, I went to the trial, and I can vouch for you, there was no abuse, or anybody didn't say anything about abuse. They just took her children.
Her kids were just taken. There was no abuse, any kind of proof of abuse in the courthouse.
They came to the school and got them.
CPS came to the school and got those children.
Okay, what would you like to tell the people of Austin, Texas, especially Precinct 4? Because the people in Precinct 4 need to know that they start there and then they're spreading out from there. They need to know in Precinct 4.
Ellos fueron nomás a la escuela a agarrar mis niños. Fueron a la escuela, mi niña tenía 12 años, la más grande. Y fueron a hablar con ella, y ella dijo que nomás fueron a la escuela y alguien le llamó de su cuarto y la pusieron en un cuarto y a esas mujeres fueron a hablar con ella, que era esa Leslie Ontiveros y Natara Haskell. Pero yo entonces en ese tiempo yo no sabía cuáles eran los nombres. Cuando yo fui a recoger mis niños, los chiquitos, ella se vino caminando, porque la escuela de ella está cerquita. Entonces cuando ella llegó a la casa, ella me dijo que 2 mujeres habían hablado con ella, yo le dije quién eran, ella no sabía, y ya las mujeres de CPS ya estaban tocando mi puerta. Y entonces entraron y ellas se metieron para adentro, era esa Linda Juárez y esta Tara Haskell, pero entonces en ese momento yo no sabía que se llamaban así, hasta ahora yo lo sé, y traían un policía. Ellas se entraron y esta mujer me puso a mí en la cocina, la Linda Juárez, y la otra, la Bulía, la que era americana, se fue con mi niño para atrás. El policía se quedó parado en la puerta y entonces ella me empezó a amenazar. La mexicana Linda Juárez me empezó a amenazar que si yo no decía la verdad, que me iban a hacer cómplice de mi esposo y que más valía que me firmara ese papel que tenía ahí, que porque si no me iba a ser cómplice, y que mi esposo había tocado inapropiadamente a mi niña. Y entonces yo le dije que mi niña nunca me había dicho eso, y que si lo había pasado eso, que pues que entonces que esperara que viniera mi esposo, que él iba a llegar, porque él no estaba en mi casa. Mi esposo toda esa semana había estado en Houston por trabajo, y entonces ese día era viernes, porque fue el 12 de mayo del 2000, y yo le dije, espera a mi esposo, que él va a llegar ahorita, y ellas no quisieron, y me empezaron a molestar que firmara el papel, y yo no lo quería firmar. Ella, nomás la Linda Juárez, y yo traté de hablar con mi cuñada, que ella está en Red Rock, la hermana de él, y que se llama Irene. Entonces yo traté de hablar, y ella no me dejó hablar, y me dijo, cuelga el teléfono, y yo no me dejó hablar, y no había nadie que me ayudara. El policía nomás estaba parado en la puerta, no decía nada, y la otra mujer estaba atrás allá con los niños en mi cuarto. Yo no sabía qué estaba haciendo con mi niño. Entonces, cuando yo voy mirando, esa mujer, ya tenía mis niños con las maletas hechas.
Tell them you want your children back. You tell them you want your children back.
Y yo quería que mis niños no los llevaran.
Así empecé yo. I want to tell you.
Tell her what she said.
Olga, her story. Her kids were taken from her, and she's been fighting for them for 2 years. The CPS went to the school and interviewed her children without her permission. Three of her kids. And then they followed the kids home, and they came with the police. And the police was standing in the door. And this is in Lockhart, Texas, in Caldwell County. And then Olga, they set her down at the kitchen table, and all the CPS caseworkers were forcing her to make an unlawful confession that she was a witness to her husband's abusing her children. And Olga, the mother of these 3 children, standing here, was telling the CPS that it never existed. She knew nothing about it. And then they kept telling her they were going to make her an accomplice. And then they told her to pack the children's bags, and all she could remember is CPS hauling her off with her kids. And she hasn't had them in 2 years. And it's hurting, and it's devastating, and it's awful what CPS is. CPS is stealing and using our taxpayer dollars to keep these kids away from us good parents. We're good parents. We don't use drugs. We have our own houses and our own jobs. And CPS is stealing all our tax money and all the money they can get from the federal government, and have to meet a quota, get so many kids a year to keep getting these funds, grants from the government. And it's all a money-making racket. They're rich.
And they're starting out with the poor people, and y'all better understand out there, once they're done with the poor and the minorities, they're coming after you folks.
They're coming after you.
And you better start getting people in these local offices that give a crap about what's going on to these people, because this breaks my heart, what's going on here. Okay. They are stealing people's kids. How would you like your children to be stolen, to be kidnapped? How would you like that?
Open your eyes, public. CPS is stealing all kids all over the United States for money. It's a money-making racket. It buses loads a year. It's a money-making racket. It's a lie. It's not true. The majority of these kids are not abused. We're good parents. We're not on drugs. We work every day for a living. We don't steal and kill. It's a racket. It's a lie.
And if you work for the CPS, you need to give us a call at 292-0070, and if you have to go against them, we'll put you in the dark. We'll put you in the dark where people can't see your face, and change your voice, or whatever we have to do if you want to come out against them, because we know that there's corruption going on right now, and we're going to find you out before it's over with. But the main issue is we need to vote these people out of office that are doing this to these nice women like this. I'm tired of this. It's dozens and dozens of women that are coming to me. And I'm tired of listening to these stories. Either y'all get out and vote, or you accept what's going on.
Or it's coming to your neighborhood soon. It'll be knocking on your doors. It'll be happening to your kids and your grandchildren and all your friends and everybody you know, even you. It's coming to your doorstep, because CPS is going to take every kid that they can until the laws are changed.
And here's 3 women in court right now. Come back over here. You have Victoria and Olga and Joanne. You have 3 women here that did not deserve to have their children stolen by the CPS. Now, this is outrageous, folks. Somebody needs to get on the ball and do something. And the first step you need to do is you need to get out and vote. You need to vote for somebody that's going to stand up for your God-given rights.
Yo les dije a ellas que si mi esposo tenía la culpa, que ya va a llegar él, que se lleven a él, que para qué se iban a llevar mis niños. Y ellas no quisieron esperarse que él llegara y se los llevaron.
Olga specified to the CPS the day that they took the kids from her house, she specified, if you have something against my husband, if you're accusing my husband of abuse, well, take him. He's coming from Houston in several days. Wait to take him. Why are you taking my children? You have no proof. You haven't accused me of abuse. Why I have to suffer without the kids? Why the kids have to suffer without me? The one you're saying is the enemy here is my husband. Why are you coming after me? Go after my husband.
Ellas dijeron que todo eso
Well, hold on. Let's make sure that the audience knows that I done a complete investigation about what went on with her husband. Tell her that I know what went on with her husband, and that was false too. Even if it's false, they still take the children and say it's at risk, right?
Yes, Mike Hanson was there at the courthouse. He did a complete investigation. He was through the whole trial. This Olga Alvarez's trial, the lady standing here, and he was a witness that there was no proof that this man anything ever happened, any abuse ever happened. And he still was found guilty, and the kids are still withheld from their mother who raised them.
Good afternoon. My name is Mike Hanson. I came here to give you, the police, a few suggestions today, not to make any recommendations on your program here. Decent, law-abiding citizens have a right to both liberty and privacy. So as long as we're not violating somebody's person or property, this is one of the cornerstones of living in a free country. My own brother is an APD officer, so don't get me wrong. I am for good, honest, well-trained peace officers. But let me make it clear, we will not tolerate a bad cop. I told my brother, if good officers do not speak out against the bad officers, then you're all bad. Lately, it's become clear that it's the police versus the people. I think that's wrong, and I come here to make 4 short suggestions to the police department and the city council. First, number 1, stop treating us as criminals. Start protecting our God-given rights and follow the Bill of Rights. That's number 1. Number 2, stop wearing Army gear, black ski masks, camouflage pants, combat boots, black uniforms, and using tanks against the people. You are not at war, and you are not in the Army. You are peace officers. I was in the Army, and they are trained to kill and break things. Peace officers should be there to protect and serve and to save lives only. Number 3, stop using your peace officers as revenuers. Number 4, all we want is for the police officers to treat our families like they want their families to be treated. Thank you, and God bless.
I've lived in Austin 7 years. I've never been pulled over. I've never been even given a speeding ticket. I have no criminal record. I came here 7 years ago to work on the PowerPC microprocessor Motorola. I studied at University of Illinois in Purdue. I've been here since working technical jobs. Recently, I'll get into my story. The event that I'm speaking of began at 10 p.m. this past Sunday evening, a time I was not at my home in South Austin. My fiancée Gwen was at home, and at that time, 2 officers, again in the last 48 hours, identity still unknown to me, rang my home doorbell at 10 p.m. Sunday night. Gwen told these officers, while completely in shock, that they were looking for me, and at that time that I was not home. I was told by her later, early that Monday morning, that they chose not to believe her statements, answer any questions she had, and force their way past her into our home and search my house, our house, and my property out back. However, they were then presented with the fact that I was simply not there, the irrefutable fact that I was simply not there. I immediately called Mike Hanson, candidate for Travis County Commissioner Precinct 4, who I highly recommend, that at 2 a.m. that evening on his cell phone. He called the Austin Police Department, and then they would not release any relevant information. to Mr. Hanson and hiding the police officer's identity and why they were searching through my house at 10 o'clock on Sunday evening, this last Sunday evening. That next morning, Monday morning, I called the police officer starting at 9 o'clock. I called the public information office and spoke to as many people as I could. Their names were Mike, Rick, Adam. All along the entire day, I could not get any information. All I got was somebody will be getting back to you. Mike will be getting back to you. That never happened. But yet again, a police car drove up to my house this Tuesday morning, today, just a few hours ago, or several hours ago. I immediately called Mike Hanson again, 656-0521. When the police officer found that a video crew was on its way, the police officer left, and right before Mike and his cameraman arrived. I feel this was a blatant violation of my Fourth Amendment protections, a violation of my fiance's and the roommates whose bedroom they entered Sunday evening as well, and waking him up. I know I have a right to know who my accusers are, the names of the police officers who were legally entered my home last Sunday evening at 10 p.m. with no warrant and no probable cause.
Well, is any way that you can keep my number, and if anything happens before this situation gets out of proportion, blown out of proportion, can you call me too? Because I really have checked this situation out, and that's what I promised to do as the county commissioner. And I know that this guy is not a threat to anybody's person. And that's the only thing I'd be concerned about. If he's a threat to his wife or his roommate, I would be concerned too, but I just don't think he is. Yeah. Okay, I will get hold of him now. I'll get a hold of him within the next 30 minutes, and I'll have him call you from my cell phone. All right, God bless you. You hear? They got it. Hey, take it.
I don't know who filed this report. Where did this come from? It's confidential. An anonymous tip can come have people storm through my house at 10 p.m. on a Sunday night. I'm doing just fine.
Give no information.
Absolutely not, and not in any way. I'm a peaceful, loving, law-abiding citizen of the United States of America. Well, good. I hope to get along really good with the police. You're through? Okay. I'll let you talk to Mike. I'm a cool guy. All right. All right.
Hello. That was it. Oh, they're supposed to call it. His sergeant's supposed to call me back. Sergeant Hampton, this is Mike Hanson. Is it all right? Everything fine out here? I can leave now? Well, hold on. Joel told me to stay here until I heard from a sergeant.
Hi, this is David Thibodeau, and I love the Mike Hanson Archives.
Absolutely. Okay, folks, thank you so much for watching Mike Hanson Archives. Stay tuned right here for more classics with Alex Jones. But to support this channel, what do I say? You've got to buy the book. That's how we support this channel, Victoria. And it takes a lot of money. It's about $1,200 a week I'm paying these people in this office. And it's very expensive. And even if you got a book, get another one. Send $25 and I'll send you a signed copy of my book. Did I ever give you a book of mine? Well, I'm going to give you one when I get back over there. When you come, Victoria's fixing to come to Gonzales and help us remodel a motel, and her crew. So I can't wait to start working with Victoria again. But in the meantime, I need help out there to get this book sold and get some more money coming in to Mike Hanson Archives. So call. Cammie will be right there to answer your call if you call 830-672-3089. or you can write us here at P.O. Box 481 in Gonzales, Texas. All right, folks, stay tuned for more classics right here on this channel, band.video on Infowars.com. Thanks a lot and God bless. You have anything to tell the folks out there?
I love Mike Hanson's archives.
Oh, now that's what I wanted to hear. I had to see this. Do that again.
Welcome to Friday.
Yeah, everybody's trying to do something here. Look at all this. We need to get them to take all the trash out. Boy, it's like, you know, the boss has to take the trash out and do everything around here. Buffy's gone.
Held on, take me away.
Yay!
It's the best and most comprehensive book on Bohemian Grove, and it's written by Mike Hanson, my old camera guy.
Mike Hanson Archives.
Get ready to run. Hey, folks, this is Mike Hanson here, and if you ever want to get your thrills on the Texas bucket list, come right here to Howard's in Shiner, Texas. And it's been here since 1984. You can have a beer and sit in the convenience store. It's a really good place here in Shiner, Texas. Just 14 miles down the road from Gonzales, Texas. And here's a little piece of video when we were there, Steve, Blaha, and myself. There is a lady that we're talking to here in the video that's there every single day drinking a beer. So come on down to Howard's, Shiner, Texas. We're at Howard's in Shiner, Texas. Now, Steve, tell your favorite saying that you saw on TV. Say it loud.
It's well worth your stop on the Texas bucket list.
And no, you're not no 70 years old over there. Tell her what you said a while ago. She's gonna be 80 July 24th. You know my birthday's July 26th. Are you a Leo? Oh, same with my son. Oh, well, he's a Leo, I know. Well, like I told folks, like I told her, she don't even look 70. She don't even look 60. She is young looking. Do you work here? You were on that TV show. You work here? Oh, she comes in every day, but she was on the Texas bucket list. You saw her on there, Steve, didn't you?
They interviewed her. Yes, they did. And a couple of...
Right there. Now she's going to be interviewed again. All right, what was your name? Come see her right here at this is Highway 97 between, Highway 90, just before you get into Shiner. All right, folks, Mike Hanson on Facebook. God bless you.
Mike Hanson Archives on Facebook. Are you on Facebook?
Son, Steve, isn't he a punk? My son is very good looking, isn't he? What is he now, 27? No, 37. Did you want to race? Boy, you must have a good looking father. You must have a good looking father.
He can't hear you. It's too loud.
I said you must have a good looking father and mother.
He can't hear you. It's too
Bye.
loud.
Absolutely beautiful. Ooh, I love it. Don't be running. All the workers running. Just showing how nice it is. That is beautiful. See how ugly it was before? Ooh, that is ugly. Now I gotta say, that's ugly. But over here, that is modern and beautiful. Let me see a piece of that. Oh, that is pretty. How do you put that down?
You gotta snap it in.
Oh, I gotta snap it. Okay. Beautiful. Oh, this is beautiful. Don't even try to hide. I got her on speed dial. I got everybody on speed dial. Ooh, that's nice. Hello, folks. It's Mike Hanson from Mike Hanson Archives. And Mike Hanson Archives is sponsored by Guadalupe Valley Services for all your carpentry and paint needs. And now here's Victoria.
And I love Mike Hanson's Archives.
Absolutely, folks. Keep watching right here on band.video on Infowars.com. Thank you, Alex, for the channel. We really appreciate it. We're getting some information out. That's why they call it an information war.
Info war.
And we are beating the New World Order.
Every time.
Thank you, folks. Hello, folks. It's Mike Hanson here with Mike Hanson Archives. Please take a moment to watch this short video about my nonprofit, Gonzales Association of Patriots. Please take time to visit the GoFundMe and help your neighbor out. Anything will help us, even if it's $5, $20. If you can do more, great. But if you knew how desperate some of these people were, people that are a lot less fortunate than we are, they really need help here in Gonzales, Texas, and we're really trying to do that for them. So take a few minutes here to watch this video about our nonprofit, and please visit our GoFundMe and donate what you can. We really appreciate it, and thanks a lot, and God bless. Because I know you need help with your food and everything else. So that's from the Gonzales Association of Patriots. We always try to do something good for somebody every single month. We try
I
to
love you, Mike. I love everybody. Thank you. Thank
there you go.
Everybody.
Buy what you want with it. Buy you something nice once in a while.
I love you, Mike.
Yeah.
God bless you.
Well, hello, folks. It's Mike Hanson here. And I'd like to tell you a little bit about our nonprofit organization here in Gonzales, Texas. It's Gonzales Association of Patriots. We started it back in 2016 to help the less fortunate people here in Gonzales, Texas, and there's a lot of them. People are getting their electricity cut off. They can't make the gas to even get to their jobs. So we help them along the way as much as we can. We're not that big, so we would like to get bigger and get a lot more money to help people with. And so we have started a GoFundMe there. Just look below. Just look below here, and you'll see the GoFundMe. And here's a couple people that we have helped lately, and hopefully it will move you to give a little bit to our organization, Gonzales Association of Patriots. Hello, folks. It's Mike Hanson here with Gonzales Association of Patriots. What we do here on this organization is we help people that are less fortunate here in Gonzales. And what was your name, ma'am?
Lauren.
Lauren, you have fallen on some hard times, and I hate to hear that. Tell us what the city. They cut your electricity off, then they want to charge you more deposits. We put you up in the motel for a couple days or a week while it's been really, really cold, and we're gonna give you gas money to try to get some more help. But folks, we have a GoFundMe. If you look right here on the screen and look below this video, go to the GoFundMe if you'd like to help Lauren. How much do you owe on your electricity bill? I mean, it's getting up there.
It's like $350, but this is the third time in a month and a half that I've had to pay a deposit. So I paid 3 deposits in a month and a half and almost $1,800 in lights.
And you're living without electricity right now.
Yes.
And we would like to help you. We're down to a couple $100 ourselves in our fund. And if anybody out there, if just 10 of y'all would donate $100, boy, that would be $1,000 we could help you. Lauren, you're from Gonzales. We help people from Gonzales. We have helped you just about as much as our fund's running out. So if folks, we help people here in Gonzales. If you would just give us the GoFundMe right there, and you can help beautiful people like this out there. You're working hard trying to get, you've fallen on some hard times.
Yes, sir. And then with this heart failure, is harder to work, physically work. So it's a lot harder.
Well, we're going to try to get you by right now and give you a little gas money. We're secretary. There's Miss Cammie. Give her check from the Gonzales Association of Patriots. Let me show them. It's a legitimate association, and we've had it for about 4 years now, and we help people out.
He's a great guy.
Yeah. All right. Well, God bless you.
Thank you.
Everybody help this lady out. Put it in GoFundMe, and we'll get with you to help you with your electricity bill. All right. God bless y'all out there. Thank you. People donate money to us, and that's how we get this money.
Thank you.
So if anybody, wants to know more about our organization, we're here in Gonzales, Texas at P.O. Box 481.
Thank y'all very much, and God bless everybody that helps people around that are in need. God bless y'all.
Remember, folks, this is not like other things like the Salvation Army and the Red Cross. 100% of what we take in goes back into helping the people. We don't take salaries. We just find the needy people and try to get them to a better place. We give them a hand up is what we do. All righty. Thanks a lot, and God bless. It's Mike Hanson here. Please help us where you can. Okay. All right. Oh, hey, this is the prize right here. Right here. I gave $500 for it, and how much is it going to cost me to fix it up? Is this going to be replaced?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh my. Oh my. I love this truck. What? Oh my God. Oh, what's that?
See this right here?
That thing right here is sort of bent.
Oh, does that matter? We're going to have to replace that.
See this right here? It's bent up too a little. Got to have a new one of these for both sides, and we got to have a welder come in here and straighten this up.
Y'all are really hurting my feelings.
Yeah.
But did we know that? But look how good this truck is.
Yeah, this good truck.
Yeah. Okay, where's my donor truck?
Huh?
Where's the donor truck? This one?
Yeah.
Come over here.
Yeah.
Let me show you why we can't use this one.
Oh, hell no.
Hell no, look at
I paid $400 for this truck to get it.
This is rusted out. No good.
Try to take it out.
Oh.
No, look.
You sure we can't just...
No, look.
What about Julian? He have one?
It's rusted out.
It's rusted out. Look at
But we're going to use this one? We're going to use this
I gotta
one?
use it. That's right here.
Okay, where's my hood?
Right here.
Okay, we're going to use the
Then we
blue.
gotta go and put it on.
Hey, all you need is a little white now. Red, white, and blue.
Yeah, there you go.
Red,
white, and blue.
Those things we're showing you over there, that's what
Yeah.
the bumper hooks do.
See,
Somebody cut them off on this one.
Oh, hell.
It's food off.
I don't need no, like my wife said, oh, you got to paint it. I don't need no paint as long as it's running. I don't care. It's a work truck, folks. That's a nice truck. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
I ain't worried about it.
There's Mike coming, that old piece of junk.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah, he go right. He's a carpenter.
No, mechanic.
No, body
The
shop.
best mechanic. Look how dirty your. Look, show your hand. Boy, you work hard. Boy, I tell you.
Look at that. Hard. Look at that. Look at the hands.
You see my hands?
Look at the
I worked hard today.
Look
Look
at that.
I worked hard today.
God.
I had to shake a lot of hands this today.
Look at that. Look at my hand.
Mike Hanson Archives, sponsored by Guadalupe Valley Services, with all your carpentry and paint needs in the Gonzales, Texas area. Now, back to the future.
Long live the Constitution! God bless America! And death to the New World Order! We shall, we must, and we will prevail because we're willing to stand up against what's happening. God bless the Republic and the United States! And death to the New World Order! Yeah! All right! Yeah!
Yes, thank you very much, folks.